welcome to We the GamerCast. It publishes every single Monday at youtube.com/carpoolgaming and podcast services around planet Earth on every single continent. I think that we might be in Antarctica. Thank you guys so much for being here, for listening, for telling your friends, for telling your mom, for telling your pets, for telling your pet goldfish. He's just, what else are they gonna do? I was gonna say he, but who knows what that goldfish is. Thanks guys for being here. I am very excited. As you might know, I record this usually after the conversation that you're about to hear. I do time travel, so I know you don't know this, but I know this. I'm not just saying this, that this is a special one. This is really good. Charles McGregor, the creator of HyperDot, and maybe can I say it? Like maybe my friend? I think we've gotten to know each other over the last couple of years. A wonderful human being. You guys are in for a treat. But guess what? If you're new, here's the deal. Every week I have sweet hangs with a stranger from the internet. And if you want to be on the show, it's easy. You can just tweet at me at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Don't forget to hit the like button over on YouTube if you like. That would be great. I have a lot that I need to tell you guys, but I ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna wait till next week. I had a bit of a weekend. I wasn't feeling all that great. I had to delay the episode a little bit, but it's totally worth it. And it's all made possible by the nearly 90 patrons who support us each and every month at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. And we would love it if you joined on, just like those 90 other people, especially our ultimate producers, Mr. Robby Bobby Miller, Tony Baker from Quest for Pixels at youtube.com/Quest for Pixels. I almost said Troy Baker for the first time in a long time. Dallas Ford from the Blame Game. Support those guys over at YouTube. The links are in the show notes. Johnathan Brown. He's got his new EP called from PME called Gems. It's available on Spotify and Apple Music. And of course, Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. That's my Extra Life team. It's your Extra Life team. We are going to be in Rome, New York live with probably 100 people. You guys, it's going to be nuts. You can donate right now. You can join the team, whatever you want to do. Carpool Gaming, we are fundraising as part of Phoenix Overdrive, and we're going to raise $10,000. No, maybe even $15,000, maybe even $20,000. And when you donate to our page, Carpool Gaming, you can be entered in to win some great prizes. Every $10 you donate will get you entered in. And right now, we have confirmed a bunch of Game Pass, a bunch of 3-month codes, a bunch of 12-month codes. That's a year. In most calendars, I suppose. So yeah, we're starting the hype train. It's a month away. We're going to be live from Rome. It's going to be amazing. How many of you even heard of Rome before? Because I got to be honest, other than the that documentary, Woodstock 99, I hadn't heard of it. But I've been there, and it's amazing. I've been there twice before, so I speak from experience. This Extra Life thing, it's unlike anything you've ever seen before. Nintendo dads are confirmed to be there. Nintendo pals confirmed to be there. Me. Lots of the Snack Network is there. The Save the Game media, like everybody is going to be there, and you guys are going to want to check it out. Extra Life is going to be absolutely phenomenal. My goodness, I was about to thank all of our patrons. Oh, I'm still in the middle of it. Oh, he's talking about Lee. Goodness gracious, who's keeping me on track here? Our platinum producers, Marcus McCracken and RJ Kern, and thank you to our gold members, Anna, Cecily Carrozza, Dallas Robbins, Drellish, Emily O'Kelly, Foolish Fuji, Jose Jimenez. What is that? Marcus O'Neill, Nagachaka, the Snack Network, and Tim Paulin. And thank you to our newest patron, Eric Hodges. Thanks for believing in us. I promise you, we will try not to let you down. I can't promise that we won't let you down, but it's not my intention to let you down, especially with today's episode with Charles. Goodness gracious, you guys. Him and I are like a peas in a pod. We're old best friends kind of catching up here. It's a classic, instant classic episode of We the GamerCast. And you can follow Charles on Twitter at DarkAzeTG. All the links are in the show notes. I'm just going to get right into it, you guys. This is not worth delaying. I want you to get right into it. I hope you enjoy my conversation with my good friend and yours, Charles McGregor. Yeah, your mic sounds great, by the way. What kind of microphone is that? That sounds awesome.
It is a Samsung, not Sung. I always have to clarify that. Samsung USB mic.
What the heck? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's now like a couple of years old. I want to say it's like 4 or something years old.
Yeah.
And it's going through a Go XLR. So I'm able to do a little bit of
You're
stuff.
4,000 cables in.
Yes, I have 4,000
Yes.
different. Actually, it's actually not too bad.
No.
It's just because this is a USB mic, it's actually not all that bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one cable that I have to deal with.
What's like? I don't know that you do. Do you do a podcast or anything? Like what? That's quite a microphone for just
Yeah, I
like
know.
I'll just chat to people sometimes.
Yeah, no, I just really enjoy a lot of this like production stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to have the lights in the room and make
Mm-hmm.
sure things like you can. It's really funny because at the very start of the pandemic, when I started to do like interviews and stuff for HyperDot, I was like. It really showed I did not have the equipment. I had like a headset thing. It was like really like hard to hear me and stuff. And it was like a low angle because I didn't have a webcam.
Yeah.
Because I lent it to my brother and he never gave it back.
Oh, brothers are the worst for this. They never give the stuff back. I have a
man.
complex about that, man. Like I used to lend out movies to my friends because I had a great movie collection back when DVDs mattered and that kind of thing was a thing.
Yeah.
But I had like a library system, man. Like I had a spreadsheet. Like if you're gonna take something off the shelf, I know who and when. Like I've had enough of my stuff disappearing, man.
I have a checkout list and everything. That's awesome.
I'll have automated reminders and text messages and send people
all
after
good.
you, man.
Here's a barcode. All right, scan. All right, cool.
Automatic
Like, you're a
email
little
to
late. Yeah.
charges.
Oh my goodness.
We need to, dude, like libraries, and I know this. I get games from the library. Like they don't have late charges anymore. Like what's it?
Oh,
charge
yeah.
me. Like
Yeah, that is so true.
how are you operating right now?
I don't know. It is amazing because I've heard so many people also like bring up the fact that like if you're buying a subscription from Audible, you're like missing out on the fact that like just getting a library card, you get a whole bunch of audiobooks
all
as
for
well.
free. All for free.
And I'm like, oh man,
How
that
is
so
Audible
true.
a business? How is that possible?
I don't know. I guess like you're gonna have to have like some exclusive things on Audible, right?
We need to
But
do a
then, like,
comparison.
Yeah, you have to have. Okay, here's the pros and cons.
Yeah.
Here's all the things that are featured. It must be like probably really small no name things are on Audible,
Seriously.
but like the larger stuff.
I need to do like
You'll be fine.
I need to check in on this. Like what books would I really absolutely need to listen to on Audible that are not available at the local library? But I listen to so many podcasts, so like I've talked about this before. Like, I need to save like the last bastion of literature. Like I can't. As soon as I listen to one audio book, I'm done for, man. I will never read another book ever again, and that's it.
Man.
I can't.
Yeah, I've only read or listened to one audiobook, and like for the longest years, like 10 years, it's been like everybody's like, and this podcast is brought to you by Audible and all that stuff. And I finally was like, okay, fine, because I was on the MinMax podcast, and we were. They were looking for people to read Reggie's book.
Oh yeah.
Like, this is a good time for me to try out Audible.
Yeah.
And I finally tried it. It was nice because it was like Reggie reading a book to me. That's awesome. But like
tucking you in at night.
Yeah, it's great. And then I was like, I'm never going to use this. So I promptly like canceled. I was like, I'm not going to I just used the free trial that I got. And then now I'm just getting inundated with like, you got a bunch of credits on your Audible stuff.
This podcast most definitely not brought to you by Audible. So you're just like, read books, everybody. Go to your local library.
Please.
I get depressed sometimes when I go to the. This is my. I mean, you know me by now. Like I go to the library and I'm like, there's too many books. I'll never read even a fraction, even the shelf. Even like you walk in, it's like this is new this week. Not gonna read. That's my lifetime worth of books right there. It's too much. How is there so much stuff?
That's the first world problems of there's too much stuff out there, too many games, too many movies, too many books.
Well,
you just have to say, I'm just not gonna.
I guess, but how dare you, Charles, add to this first world problem? You see this world of content, these games, endless selection. You're like, you know what the world needs? A dot in a circle of varying sizes and shapes and colors.
Exactly. I saw that there was a hole that was needed to be felt, and I was like, it's a perfectly circle sized hole.
I know you were on the show before. We talked about the game, but I feel like, we've come to know each other quite a bit over the last couple of years as well. But I don't remember like did you like hit your head on a bathroom, like on a toilet seat or something where you like can see the flux capacitor? Like how did it come to you? How do you go like, yeah, that's the game I want to make?
That's it. I did. So it's funny you mentioned that. I did actually when I was a kid. No. I fell down on it wasn't a toilet or anything involved with the bathroom. It was a metal chair in my room.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was really dumb because there's like a screensaver of like baseball. It was, back when screensavers were.
Screensavers. You need to save that screen, man.
Yeah, I was like, oh, cool. But I was like in the dining room, and then the screensaver would constantly loop. And then there's one part when, they're doing the baseball thing where it does like the guy hits the ball and then the crowd goes wild.
Yeah.
And me being a kid, I'm like, oh, I got to be there for that part. So like clockwork, every, I want to say 3 minutes or whatever, how long the loop was, I would just go from the dining room, run into my room, and then go, yay! and then run out back into the dining room and be like, yeah, there you go. And I don't understand why I did this. But one of those times I ran in there and I tripped on a toy that was just laying on the ground, and I went crack into and I still have the scar. Because it required stitches. I was just bleeding. I was like, this is it. And then I just started crying.
How old were you? Bad. Like, you're a kid? Like, how old? Like, 6?
Oh, man. Yeah, I think it was like...
That's young for stitches, man.
Yeah, it was something... I know that I was in school.
Okay, yeah.
But, like, I don't remember where. Because I remember I was in school because I believe that people asked the question, why do you have this huge Band-Aid over your left eye? And I'm like, well...
Stitches are kind of wild, man. I didn't like, I never had anything like that. Well, when I was actually too young to remember, apparently I had stitches under my lip here because I'm the second kid. So like, whatever. And apparently I was just like in my little like baby chair and I had a knife and I just kind of like fell onto the knife. Like I could have died. I could have like no eyeball or something, or like, missing a tongue or something. But yeah, I went through like kind of right here. I won't get like right up to the microphone or to the camera, but I've got a nice little scar. It's this right.
Yeah. It's just you were just trying to make it more
thought it was a spoon.
Apparent, just thought it was a spoon. You're like, yeah.
I'm 2 years old and I'm like, chicks dig scars, man. Let's get this. Let's get this lifetime.
Oh my goodness.
As far as scars go, but also when I was, of age, we were going to concerts and whatever, and I went to one rock show, and this idiot just like was doing roundhouse kicks. He was really feeling the music, and he's just like doing these kicks, and I never saw it coming. Right on the eye, like just blood.
I hope this was like a jazz concert.
It was actually
it was a classical concert.
Yeah, classic. Yeah. It was the opera.
Yeah, okay.
Dude just feeling the opera.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, spinning heel kick, just
it's just like, I'm really feeling Bach.
Yeah, and of all the places to get stitches, like the eye is something special because you have the front row seat to that show.
Yes,
like you're like that dude is like right there.
Yes, that is something that I do like vehemently remember of them like having to cover my eye with like some like a towel and whatnot, and then feeling the needle and then seeing the needle and stuff, and I'm like,
so gross.
This sucks. This is bad.
But it also like it should be worse. Like it.
Yeah, it should be worse, but it was not as bad as some like other things or like I don't know. Like if you break your arm or something. I've never.
Yeah, dude. Any of this stuff blows my mind. Like we don't even have to talk about like actual amazing modern medicine, like vaccines or whatever, or X-rays. It's like somebody figured out you take this string and you sew up your skin like it's a patch on your jacket.
Yeah, and then your body will.
You'll be good. You'll be good. Yeah. You break your arm, throw it in this cast thing. You don't have to chop it off anymore.
You're good. Yeah.
It's pretty decent. Yeah, we're lucky to be alive when we are, man. I'd not be happy. Yeah. Even 50, 60 years ago, 100 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, oh man. I think, oh man, I forget. There was like some modern medicine that was like, and this wasn't actually introduced until like the 1950s.
Seriously, like insulin, dude. No. Like insulin's not that old, really.
Yeah,
like 1920s, I think. Like I'm not a doctor or anything. Fact check me.
I don't want to. I don't want to have to deal with that stuff.
Okay, so you were watching baseball on your thing, and you slammed your face into
this completely derailed the thing. No, so that had nothing to do with the reason why I made HyperDot. It was just a random.
That's what you think. I believe in the butterfly effect.
You're right, because I saw it was the baseball. I saw it flying while I was flying into the metal chair.
You hit your head hard enough, you see like those flashing lights and like kind of weird, some weird shapes.
Like, weird. Why is this so many? No.
Is this chill music playing?
Yeah, I was like, maybe I should make like a lo-fi beat kind of thing before that was a thing.
I was gonna say, like, when you made the soundtrack for this, we're gonna go into a trillion different places. Was lo-fi like a thing? Like, is it just? I feel like maybe like a version of like house music. I don't know.
Yeah. It's definitely like house music, like down tempo. Like deep house kind of thing.
Yeah.
I sound like I'm Sirius XM chill right now.
Yeah, man.
Sirius XM chill. But I mean, honestly, I listen to a lot of that while listening to or like making the soundtrack.
Yeah.
But so it's like a lot of electronic music and house music. I wanted to like each song I wanted to like do a different genre of music. So there was there was like your house music, and then I have like drum and bass in there, and then I have like I have liquid drum and bass in there, and like a wide variety of different things. There's the most intense song that most people don't listen to or don't hear because you have to get to the impossible levels. Yeah, but like there's just a ton of different ones because I wanted to like venture out into different like genres and things, but I also knew that I didn't want you to be like super like I didn't want the music to be like, oh my goodness, this is so intense, because you're playing a game over and over and over.
You get sweaty enough from the game, man.
Exactly, and I don't want to add the sweat. You don't want that smoke with that. I
can't remember. Were you making music before you made the game, or did you learn how to make the music like as you were making the game? I feel like you did it all at once.
Oh, no. I am a classically trained musician.
Okay.
So I am a jazz musician.
Yeah.
Since like, I played in band from like grade 2 to freshman year of college.
That's pretty awesome to have band in grade 2. That was not a thing at my school.
Oh, yeah.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, it was really nice. Although I did not get to play the instrument that I wanted to play because everybody wanted to play the clarinet apparently, and I wanted to play the clarinet because my brother played the clarinet.
Yep.
I was like, I want to play the clarinet because he is. So then, because of that, I was like, oh well, all we have here is a saxophone. I was like, all right, I'll do that. Man, I fell in love with the saxophone.
Yeah, dude.
Oof. Oh, man.
That is so weird. When I went to, I played in band for a couple of years. My brother ended up like making a life out of it. He's also a jazz musician. He teaches out in Vancouver and plays every instrument and all that stuff. You guys should chat actually. Should hook you up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I played saxophone because he played saxophone. He's 2 years older than me, and he was playing like tenor sax. So like, that's what I want to play. And we had to like fight over sax. Like clarinet was like, they were like holding rallies and stuff like, please come over, like discover the wonder that is the clarinet.
Oh man, yeah,
but sax was it, man.
Yeah, that's like the opposite of
that's so funny.
A lot of my stuff, where a lot of people were like clarinet, trumpet.
Yeah, trumpet
were like
for sure.
The two ones that everybody went to.
Yeah,
and then like I think I was like one of 4 saxophones almost all the time in every band that I was in.
Yeah.
Minus, I guess, my actual jazz bands that I was in. But like, yeah, it's interesting.
Did you play like all the saxophones? Where did you start? Especially as in grade 2, you're what, like 7 years old or something like that? Like,
I was like, I guess
just a little guy.
Yeah, I was. This is around the time where I was baritone. Like, I want to be a game developer. This is like literally around there.
Seriously?
I was like, I want to be a game developer around like 8 years old.
Get out of here.
No, yeah, it was. Bear with me.
What chair did you slam into at this time?
This time it was a brass chair. No, there was a
trombone in the back of the skull.
It was a trombone. Man, oh my. I'm gonna avoid doing all these tangents and go into the one tangent that we're currently on.
Okay. No, I'm making a note about Trombone Hero or whatever that game is called.
The trombone. Really, it's just about Trombone Champ.
Yeah,
but anyway,
Champ, that's it. Yes.
But the what were we talking? Oh no, yes. So the reason why I was super interested in making video games at a young age is I had a class. There was like a homework assignment where we had to read a Time magazine, and then we had to read an article in it, and then do some report or whatever. I don't remember what we had to do.
Classic assignment.
Yeah, classic assignment. Read Time magazine. Come back and say something about it.
Kids be like, "What even are you talking about?"
Sure, yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" But one of the articles, the article that I ended up reading was about a young girl who started her own bakery business. And I was like, "Whoa, you can do that at that young of an age?" And then I was like, "Man, I want to do that, but for video games." Yeah. And like that was the reason why I was like, "Man, I want to do this."
To video games.
Bakery to video games.
Okay.
And fortunately, my dad is a computer scientist.
Okay, that helps.
That helps. So I was like, "Hey, Dad, can you teach me how to make video games?" So he sat me down and taught me and my brother how to code.
He's like, he's been waiting for this day to come.
He was like, yes.
He's got the whole like curriculum set up. He's like, come on in here.
Oh my goodness. He had the books ready and lined up. He was ready for this.
What did he teach you? What kind of coding were you learning?
Oh yeah. So we learned BASIC
Yeah.
For our very first stuff, which was really nice. And then we used a program called Dark Basic, which is like, it's basic, but with a couple of like things geared towards video game development and stuff.
Got it.
So I was like, okay, here, we're like, I'm ready to like consume all of this stuff. We had to like, he ordered a huge book about like, it's like Dark Basic. It's equivalent to Dark Basic for dummies or whatever, but it's
classic.
Like, it's a huge book. Like it was
for
like
dummies, things like 1,000 pages.
Yeah, it's like yeah,
for dummies.
Like, it's for dummies. It's like War and Peace. Oh. But I'm like, but like, yeah, no, it was something, and that was something that I would read through all of this stuff. I would read it in the bed and be like, I need to learn,
yeah, man,
and stuff.
At that age, you're just a sponge. You're just like, give me all the things, dude.
I want all the things. And then after doing that for, I want to say for like 2 years, I was super into it. My brother was like, I don't like programming, and he stopped. But he then later in college, he played League of Legends. And then discovered like, oh, there are people who just design on a game team.
Yeah, you don't have to code the whole thing.
You don't have to code. I want to do that.
Yeah.
To where now he is a programmer, but where he makes games.
You just took me on a trip.
I know you took. Yeah, I know. It was like, I hate programming, and then he's like, oh, you can make game or do game design, and he's like, yeah. I was like, oh, I guess I have to learn some programming, and then he started to learn programming, and then he was like the lead programmer. He was the lead programmer at one company because he was like one of the only few programmers there. Yeah. And now he's like the lead programmer at Future Club, which is the people that make Skullgirls and things.
Holy crap, man. That kind of reminds me of that could have been where I might have gone into with like sciences. Cause like I'm fascinated by like science and space and chemistry and all these things. But like I got into like learning it. I'm like, I don't think this is great. Like I needed the League of Legends moment later on in life.
Yeah.
This is cool. Like I see where you're going with this. Cause before this, it was just textbooks and nonsense.
Oh man, that's the one thing that I dislike so much is that there are, particularly at the university that I went to, which is the University of Minnesota Duluth campus, which is also where my dad went to do. It was weird. Like there was a lot of parallels where
the apple in the tree.
Scientist, he's a computer scientist. Yeah. But the second class that you take if you're trying to do computer science there is a weeder class, where it's like they're like, oh, no one's going to pass this class. Everyone, this is where you go and say, yeah, I'm no longer wanting to do this. And all of my friends just dropped out of it. Yeah, it was like, I'm done. Yeah, and I really don't like that because it's just like, a lot of the stuff that are like the things that were like extremely hard, which caused people to like drop out of the class, are things that I don't ever use.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh my, I really.
But
just
you didn't use it at all. Like it didn't like teach you how to study or anything. Like I'm torn on this topic. For me, it was calculus in a business degree. I do not need calculus for a business degree. It's just you can't tell me that I do. But I feel like it kicked my butt a little bit. Like I needed to like refine my approach to pretty much everything with my work ethic overall. Just needed to like I needed to try because I was a pretty smart kid. I could kind of just get by, and calculus I could not just get by. So I kind of needed that. Like life isn't always going to be like that, as I've come to learn on a daily basis. I think it's like, shit is hard.
I mean, I think that there's the like, hey, guess what? It's getting real because it's not daisies and whatever other things that rainbows people say when rainbows. There you go.
The rainbows and also the daisies and
also the daisies. Yeah. But I also think that like, especially when you're like your first year or semester of first or second semester of college of like, I want to explore and go down this path that I think that I really want to try. Yeah. And then that being just a brick wall, like it is a brick wall.
That's true. Yeah.
Like that is where I'm like, because there are so many people that I know of the friend group that I had there. I know that if they kept going or like did something else inside of that, they would have really enjoyed it. But they just like said, nah, I'm good.
That's
like,
actually really funny. Like we can relate on the college path, even though we took very, very different paths. Like that doesn't seem right to me. We shouldn't each have like that same thing. It shouldn't actually be that close. That's wrong. I don't like that.
And then there you go.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just like, like because all my friends just dropped out of that, it was just like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to learn and study on my own kind of thing. Yeah. Which was kind of rough.
That's crazy. I want to go back to your 7 years old. You want to make games. Obviously, your dad had an influence, but like, what were you playing that you wanted to? That kind of maybe filled in the gap here.
Sure. I guess the games that I was playing around that time would be, we'd be like in the N64 era.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, I don't know why. Like the next thing was Chameleon Twist.
Yes, yes, I'm like, dude. First mention on the show in hundreds of episodes. I don't think anybody has mentioned this game. That's awesome.
Chameleon Twist 2, Rocket Robot on Reels.
Wow.
I was playing some Glover. Never beat the first stage. Just
my head is spinning.
For Glover, every time me and my brother like rented it like once, but we just really loved the intro song when they were doing like the credits of things. Yeah. Like dun, 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 and then I was like, we're really bad at this game, and then we just reset it and then just listen to the song. Same thing with Buck Bumble. We just stayed on the main menu.
I'm sorry, what game is this?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so Buck Bumble is about it's basically a 6 Degrees of Freedom shooter with a bee as the main protagonist. And like the game is not the greatest.
You don't say.
It's not the greatest.
B games.
The menu song is so good. It is so good.
We need more of this.
Listen to it.
We definitely need, and maybe this is the thing is like people your age who grew up on the 64, like come of age to make games and stuff. Like pause music. We need more of that pause music, dude. Like the Battletoads pause music, GoldenEye pause music. We need some
goodness.
Like we need some just bangers on these
that's
pause.
So true.
Like this is it, man. So next game.
Is so true.
I love that, dude. I don't think anybody has thrown such a random selection of 64 games at me ever.
I can go on.
Keep going. But also, like, where did you just go like to the rental play, like Blockbuster or whatever? Look, mom and pop kind of just rent what's on the shelf?
Because, again, my dad, the topic of many who I'm inspired by, like pages and whatever, the essays and stuff. Like my dad is a gamer. So like he is also really into games, and he was the reason why we got into it. Like the first games that we played were like Super Mario World and Donkey Kong Country and whatnot.
Yes.
Because he had a Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is awesome. And like, man, to start out with that as a kid, and like thinking back, whew.
I know.
But because he was super into it, he would be like, yeah, let's go to Blockbuster every Friday and get our weekly rental and stuff. So that's where we played, your Chameleon Twists, your, we didn't play, oh man, what's Shake Shake? Why am I blanking on Shake Shake?
I can't help you in this. I didn't go to this dark corner of the Blockbuster, man. This is wild, dude. It's
Iggy's Wrecking Balls. That's also another one.
Holy crap.
Man. Oh, I
can't wait to hear who comes out of the woodwork and like, I played that game when I was 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
oh man, because Extreme G 1 and 2, that one that eventually my dad, that was a parents' joint kind of thing where they one Christmas they got Extreme G2.
Yeah,
I was like, oh man, and then that soundtrack is like a huge inspiration for one of the songs in HyperDot.
I love it.
Why is it Gray Area? It's like there's like a really bass line heavy. All the tracks in like Extreme G 1 and 2 are just like labeled track 1, track 2. I don't remember which track it is. But like there's like a very like bass line heavy one with a break where it's just the drums and stuff. And I was like, oh man, I want to try and do that kind of thing. So yeah,
you were playing all these different types of games. You think that like, because HyperDot isn't really like a traditional style of game. And also I apologize if I'm asking about HyperDot. I know you made this game like 100 years ago, but like I still think it's amazing. And I don't think I explored everything with you last time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still working on it because I'm still working on those damn
that Vita port, man.
Yeah, that Vita port. Oh man, oh man. I wish that I could do that so bad. But
the Vita's great, man.
Oh, God, I love the Vita too, not so much. But yeah,
the PSP.
Oh man, the PSP was so good. The like I love a wide variety of games. So like if you even nowadays, you can find me playing like, I don't know, you can see me playing Apex, maybe some Fortnite, but then I'm playing some Picross, and then you'll see me hopping on to, I don't know, what else have I been playing? There's a Frog Gun, which is that one indie.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, with
I did see that.
The Frog Gun. Speaking of PlayStation 1 N64.
Yes, no kidding.
But yeah, like I love jumping between all these different types of games and stuff. So like I get a bunch of inspiration from all these different types of games. So there's like a lot of me like just digesting and taking in all of these different, I don't know, things of like, oh, hey, I'm really interested in whatever this thing is, like this style of game design is, or hey, I want to try and put in this mechanic, or something that I saw like on a YouTube Let's Play. Actually, that is kind of where HyperDot, like if you were to go way back, that's where I got the true inspiration, kinda
from a Let's Play.
From a Let's Play, sorta. It's because I never actually played Sound Dodger, but that's like if you saw Sound Dodger and then you see HyperDot, you'd be like, oh, I see where the inspiration is.
The lawyers are coming after you now, man.
Yeah, the lawyers are coming. As soon as I started working on HyperDot, I was like, I'm never gonna look at Sound Dodger ever again.
Yeah,
like I'm not gonna look at any trailers. I'm not gonna look at screenshots or anything. I'm just gonna be like, it is just a memory in my head.
Totally.
So
You're just trying to erase it, but it like solidifies it more.
Yeah, but it solidifies. And like the reason why it originally, like it looks a lot more similar to it than probably I would have initially done is because the reason why I made HyperDot was for a temporary, like a really small thing. It was a class that had nothing to do with video games. So I was like, hey, I have this idea. It's really short. I was procrastinating, so I only had 4 days to make this thing. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do something similar to this, but it wasn't really that because it's not music based or anything. It's really more about the dodging and the fact that they're shapes.
Right.
But like, what were we talking about before? I've been going on
all
way
the
too
different.
many
Well, you were
tangents.
talking about all the different games that might have inspired.
Yes, all the different games and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot. One of my favorite like anecdotes in terms of like inspiration is so the Star Enemy. that the one that goes and then it like stops and whatnot. That is inspired by Kirby Air Ride and the Swerve Star. So there's
holy cow!
I know this is
because it could have all just been Pac-Man. You could have just said Pac-Man.
Yeah,
Like different colors.
Inspired by Pac-Man.
The ghosts, they all move different. But no,
I am going from. There's so many different things.
You know how many times somebody's brought up Kirby to me in the last 8 days? This is actually getting out of control. Man.
Oh man, Kirby Air Ride, Kirby Dream.
Yeah, people know I like Kirby. Well, I mean, he's right here. Like they're top 2.
There you
like,
go.
He's got a whole shelf of them right over here.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Subliminal
messaging this whole time.
See, we're talking about Kirby. Kirby.
Oh man.
No.
Oh, Bobby would be so mad right now. You hated Kirby.
Actually, one of the games that I've been thinking about for like the next big Tribe Games game is like inspired by Kirby Air Ride, like directly. So I'm like, oh man, I really.
Do you think that there's like not any games like inspired by Kirby? Like the whole do you mean like adopting like a mechanic like Mario Odyssey is maybe the closest thing with the hat? Like
yeah, I mean
that's a Kirby game.
Yeah. No, that's
like there's like nothing. I'm maybe there's something obvious out there.
I think that there are like things with DNA of Kirby stuff, especially like Smash, like well duh.
Sure.
But I think that there are some things that are like, oh, you can see this isn't like the direct inspiration, but if you like followed the trail, it would be like, oh, Kirby, like Mario era kind of thing. Particularly like with, Mischief Makers. That's what, there we go. Mischief Makers is the shake thing that I was trying to remember. We did not play that at Blockbuster. But
somebody can delete their comment now.
Yeah, you can delete the comment. Like there are some things where you can be like, okay, I can see like the DNA there. But yeah, I don't know if there are ones that are like, this is like you'd see like inside of the press release where it says inspired by Kirby blah, blah.
Yeah, there's no Kirby like genre. Like it's not like Souls like or the roguelikes or anything like that. And it seems like this game is so old. Like that mechanic has been around. Yeah,
and it's so sad that like because I listen to the Min-Max podcast and whatnot, and I'm occasionally on there. But one time they were doing like the best Super Nintendo games, and like they were just listing a bunch of games. Never mentioned Kirby Superstar.
That's okay. Like, what? That's okay.
What? Kirby Superstar is great.
The best on the Super Nintendo.
Well, okay.
I don't know.
I at least an honorable mention. I'm not gonna say that is the great. Of course, you can go with your Super Mario Worlds and your Super Metroids and Donkey Kong Country 2 is probably the one that I would probably bring up
before you get to Kirby.
Yeah, I understand that, but at least bring up Kirby. Nobody ever brings up Kirby.
Doesn't get the respect, man.
It does, and that happened. I think it also happened with was it the NES or whatever? And I'm like, what about Kirby's Adventure? Yeah. Come on, y'all.
My first Kirby game was on the Game Boy, and I actually liked it a lot. I had Kirby's Dream Land 2. I actually really liked that game. Like that was pretty. I won't hate on every Kirby game. And earlier this year we had a good Kirby game.
Yeah, the problem is, for most
it was
people,
a Souls-like apparently.
I don't think that it was a Souls-like.
It had bosses, therefore it's Bloodborne.
Therefore, yes, it's a Souls-like. Yes, by Souls-like we mean Titan Souls.
Exactly. Said nobody ever.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things, and I understand that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, a lot of the Kirby games are samey, and I'm like, yeah, I can understand that. It's like these are really a lot of like comfort food kind of games where it's like, oh, this, I know that I'm gonna have a fun time, even if it's not the greatest Kirby or whatever. It'll be good, but really good Kirbys are really good.
Maybe we just answer the question why nobody else is making a Kirby game, because Kirby makes 6 Kirby games a year. Like, where's anybody supposed to come in there, man? It's just
oh man, the problem with that is that really there's only like 2 big like proper Kirby. This is mainline Kirby games, and then we get a bunch of spin-off.
You get some golf and We need a Spinball. We need a finally a competitor to Sonic Spinball.
Oh my god!
Starring
Tilt
Kirby.
And Tumble. There you go. Just bring Tilt and Tumble back for Switch.
That actually is that a thing?
No, I want it though. That would be great.
Wait, what am I putting my foot in my mouth for again?
I mean, we have the better tech for it now.
Oh my gosh. Well, HyperDot it came out on Xbox originally. Yes. I want to talk about Game Pass and how it's going to destroy the industry apparently. It's funny because we've joked around with you about all the different ports. When is it coming to Switch? When is it coming to Vita? I honestly can't remember what the real story is anymore. Can you set the record? Where is HyperDot? Where is it coming? What are you officially working on?
Yes. Okay. So the official ports that I'm currently working on are Switch, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. Mm-hmm. I can right now say that the date is no longer in my control. That's the reason. Like, I would love to be able to say, "Hey,
that'd be so cool.
Hey, Sean, do you want the scoop? You want a exclusive right now?"
Yeah,
it's coming out on, and I would love to be able to finish that.
Okay. Well, I'll cam this episode until it is ready. Then you send just a recording of yourself saying the date, and I'll
and then you'll be like, "I had the exclusive,"
or I'll do it afterwards. You say that lead up, and then I'll say.
And then you'll say
November 17th.
15th.
Dude, if it's November 17th, I will lose my mind. Like that. I don't know if that's even possible for it to be that soon, but
it is just like no longer in my control. And I would love to be able to tell everybody, this is when it is. And I'm looking forward to when it is.
Is it up to a publisher now? Like, are you working?
Yeah, it's up to like publisher partners kind of thing. We're trying to figure that stuff out. Mm-hmm. And like that has been taking a lot longer than expected. Also, the PlayStation port.
Snap.
It has been taking a while.
You gotta knock on Mark Cerny's door and whisper into his ears a little bit. Say, "Hey man,
I'll take a picture of my ear, please. Let me in. Let me in, please."
Dude, like the way you get into his house is like not like the hand fingerprint thing. Like you just like,
oh no, here you go.
He's got like the Ring doorbell camera. Just
I was like, I need to get it.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Oh my
Come on
goodness.
in, Charles.
Yes. I understand. I could recognize you now. Oh my goodness.
Knows your name.
I couldn't tell from your face.
What can you talk about why the
PlayStation port?
Yeah.
There's just
processor, man.
Yeah, it's the cell processor, and it's for some reason really hard. No. So there was a Twitter thread of I forget which developer. It was like an indie developer a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Where they were like, "Oh man, doing like indie development on PlayStation is so hard."
Yeah.
Which at the time I was like, "What? That doesn't make any sense."
Yeah, but Shuhei,
there's the Vita. The Vita was called the indie machine for the longest time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I now understand what they mean.
What the heck, man?
I feel like there might have been a point during like the PlayStation 3 Vita era.
Yeah.
Where it was so much easier to do. Well, not so much easier.
Maybe just relative to everything else. Maybe is that the piece?
Mm-hmm. Relative to everything else, that's true. But like, there's just a lot of hurdles just to be able to like, as a indie developer, just to be able to like even work on PlayStation stuff. Mm-hmm. Like if you were to actually go over to the PlayStation Partners website and be like, I want to sign up to do this.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to go in there and be like, oh, you need a static IP address. Damn. And you need to to have business as things and all these business, like there's a bunch of things that would like prevent just your typical person who's just like making indie dev games in their home kind of stuff. And it's like, man, that is already a huge hurdle. But then it's been kind of a struggle. It's not only like exclusively PlayStation's fault. There's also with all of the other platforms, I know somebody who has worked on there, so I can be like, hey, I'm running into this weird problem. Do you know how to fix that? With PlayStation, I don't have that.
Go develop a Reddit or something like that. Like, anybody else?
Like, hey, hey, how do you anybody
Just
have these
searching
issues?
forums? Oh my god.
But there's like, yeah, there isn't somebody that I know personally that I can just be like, hey, I'm having this weird problem. What do you think? They're like, how do you do that? And of course, I decided to port HyperDot when a new console came out. And there's not a lot of documentation / other experiences that you can like look at to be like, oh yeah, they know how to port a game to PlayStation 5. Like not even PlayStation is consistent to how they deal with PlayStation 5 stuff, especially because like on their on the game saves and cloud saves. So like if you go from PS4 to PS5, that is not consistent. Even within PlayStation's first party stuff, that's not consistent.
So like gamers are complaining about the experience on their end. Devs are like, oh, hold my beer.
Well,
like we have to make it, dude.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I have to consider the fact that you might go from the PS4 to the PS5.
Right.
But then I have to be like, well, okay, fine. What is the like streamline process? And if you just look at like something like Ghost of Tsushima, when I moved from PS4 to PS5 with Ghost of Tsushima, it was a whole process. I don't know if you remember this. It was like
I think I did the same thing with Horizon, the last one, Forbidden West. I started on PS4 and I eventually got my PS5. Yeah.
Yeah, and where you have to go like, okay, on your PS5, download the PS4 version, go inside of the PS4 version, click the upload button to upload it to the cloud, and now download the PS5 version, go to the PS5, click the download button so that you can have the PS5 version and it converts it over. You can't go back to the PS4 version just to let you. And it's just like, that's not even consistent because third-party games don't do that. Like I remember there was like an EA thing where you have to sign into your account, so then it'll sync all your stuff and like, oh man. So
it's only slightly more convenient than them sending you like a floppy disk or a zip drive or something. It's like, well, at least it's powered by the internet, but like otherwise,
there you go. But like,
holy crap!
Like I literally have the save on my device. I don't need to download. Yeah, it's a weird thing.
So with the complications with PlayStation, like, is it now so that you're just trying to get HyperDot to land everywhere else at the same time, and it's kind of like one's waiting for the other so that you can go Switch and PlayStation?
It's not necessarily one's waiting for the other. I would love for one to just everything to be like bam, and then there you go kind of thing. But like, because PlayStation has been a little bit more complicated of a logistics kind of thing, that's where I'm like, I might have to be like, hey, that's whatever. But because I'm also in this weird waiting, like holding period where I'm like, I don't know. I still have time to try and figure out a lot of that stuff. So that's why I would love to be able to just say, and it's
November 17th.
November 17th.
XX.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I would love to be able to say that. But
yeah.
I just can't.
Oh, I'm excited for you, man. That's odd. Like, do you think about now, like this release date being kind of in question? Like,
yes,
there's a lot of games coming out, man. There's a lot of stuff. Yes. Like now we're into the holiday season. There's about, I think since we started talking, another 48 games have been released.
We're announcing release. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that come into your mindset at all? Like, do you think there's a better time, or other than just like whenever, as soon as possible, or is it better just get it out whenever it's ready?
There's definitely a time where you don't want to release.
Yeah. Call of Duty, God of War.
Yeah. Like when there is some really, really, really big game, like if it was like what happens to Horizon every year that they come out.
Next to Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's Horizon. And then 1 week later, a game-changing game in the open world genre comes out.
No,
every single time. But so yeah, there are some times where you're like, yeah, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. The only times that you should or you can do that and be okay with that is if your game doesn't fit in that genre / audience. So like, say like, yeah, Gears of War 6 comes out tomorrow or whatever, but you're making a puzzle game or something like that you should probably not have as much like overlap as you would think with that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So you can be like, okay, I'm okay with that kind of thing. But on an indie game scale, a lot of that stuff, it's more or less avoid the very large games, the ones that are taking up literally all the headspace, kind of things. and then try to figure out what makes the most sense in terms of like, if I did this, can I maybe work with like an external partner to get promoted on something? Like,
Sure.
oh, hey, Summer Games Fest is happening. Can I maybe get slotted in that kind of thing? Or like IGN's doing like a showcase, or I don't know, something like that. Things like that can help like figure out like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense to do these kind of things. But it's also really hard to get those kind of things because a lot of people really want to be on Summer Games
Yeah,
Fest.
what a brilliant idea that absolutely nobody else would think about.
No one's
these things.
never thinking about that.
But you have something special. Like you were nominated for Best in Accessibility for the dang video game award. Jeff Keighley was like, "Hey man,
Oh man,
you're one of 5 games that was nominated or something like that."
I still can't understand and comprehend that. Like,
that's awesome.
It is so. I mean, it is so like humbling and also like frightening that like, oh man, I was next to The Last of Us, which I've gone on record and being like, that's one of my favorite games of all time. The original Last of Us. I love
the
part
original.
2.
Yes,
I love part 2. I love part 2.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But like to actually be like on an official like this wasn't just, you know, I'm on a list of
like Carpool Gaming's like best
like,
games,
where it's just like I'm on a list of somebody's like, these are my favorite games, and there's just like no, but like this was a thing that was officially being competed in, like it was a competition kind of thing, and I'm like, this doesn't comprehend and like the image, the graphic that they like sent out to us so that we can send out to everybody. It had HyperDot 1 right in the center, 2 next to The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Which still but like, but 3, like the other 4 games were like really big teams in AAA or AA like sized games, and I'm like, what? And I just made a game
just
about
little
Dot.
me. You and only you, nobody but you made this game. Now, like, I want to ask you about that. Like, there's not too many other really places. Like, you have like best action game, but then you have another category for like best indie game, and that whole like term is kind of being whatever.
Yeah, it's the catch-all.
But in accessibility, it seemed like this was one area where, you could have this like AAA versus, or, right next to an indie title as well. Like, do you see like that's where we're going? Like that the barriers continue to break down, especially when we don't really know what we mean when we say indie?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like Cyberpunk. Sure.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
I think that you're definitely going to see a lot of, or you are already seeing a lot of those barriers going down. Like, what was it? The year that Hades
man.
also like got Game of the Year at various outlets and stuff. And like there were like examples of that happening before. I believe Journey was one of those.
Even the Telltale games to a certain degree. Like,
Telltale
not necessarily
games,
like indie, but I think just different.
It was definitely
smaller,
different, and
not
like
blockbuster.
Not a huge team working on a lot of those things. But you're definitely going to see that a lot. And the term indie is, oh man, it depends on who you ask, and you can get in arguments and be like, well, Valve is an indie team. And then you're like, well, from like a financial standpoint, they are technically independently funded.
Like,
so you can say
not
that,
owned by EA or
they're not owned by anybody. So you can say they're the biggest indie that you can possibly have. But like, a lot of people wouldn't categorize them, although I can already hear the comments being like, I still can classify. Like, it's at this point, it's just a label that you can put on to something, and it's less so like, it's so weird that there's a genre that you can like look into the store that's called indie.
Right.
It's like, what does that even mean? That's like saying action. It's just so broad.
Sure.
Just saying like, it's an action game. Well, what kind of action are we talking about? We can say that the turn-based strategy action game or something like that.
Well, now everything's a role-playing game.
Yeah, everything's.
I think that's the toughest thing. Everything is as role playing.
Yeah, the greatest role playing series ever is Madden.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I had this weird, like, I was playing Forza Motorsport 5 or 6 or something like that. I'm like, I think this might be a role playing game. Like, I think I started thinking about it as a role playing game.
Yeah, it's where, like, yeah, especially with like discrete genres and like how there's, you know, RPGs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it was in the mid 2000s when like 360 just was launched and whatnot, and then people were like, yeah, now everything has RPG elements.
Right,
like RPG elements was the buzzword and stuff. And I'm like, at now it's just like, well, yeah, like that's not this, you no longer even say RPG elements. That's just like
just
the gameplay mechanic or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what happened to indie, but in the label sense, where it's just like, yeah, that's just, it's a thing you can label something, but like it's not going to be the most helpful thing because people are like, you can consider Hades as an indie game, but when somebody might be like, well, that's a bigger team. There's like 20 or so people working on it, but I want to play games like Frog Gun that's made by, I believe it's only like one or two people like fully working on it. And I'm like, well, yeah, but then you're still is it like the indie spirit kind of thing?
I know.
Like, no, there's just too many different permutations and variations and
but it's
things
kind
to
of like
complain about.
It's funny that we've gotten to this point in the conversation because we started out talking about music and all the different is it house, is it lo-fi? Like I think like there's all these different things, and I think that I'm going to try and have my cake and eat it too, because I think that like the labels on their own serve to at least elicit some sort of feeling or like the original intention of that label. But knowing that you can kind of go on beyond that. But when I think indie, I think HyperDot, I think like Thomas Was Alone, Fez, some of these games that really were, or Stardew Valley, like these games that were one person, maybe two, like, I don't know. But it's weird because maybe I am leaning more into how many people made it than I'd like to think, because who knows that? What person, if you're not me or you, or like maybe most people listening to this, like who looks at a game and goes like, that looks like that was 5 people working on that game. Like, how does anybody know?
Nobody does. In fact, there was one time somebody was streaming HyperDot. And then I just so happened, I was like in there, I was like, oh, I'm going to jump into their chat.
That's the best.
Whatnot. Oh, it's so good to be able to do that. It feels so like mystery. It feels really good to be like, oh my goodness, they're like, who was this person? It's the developer. What? No way.
Yeah, man.
In this instance, they didn't believe me right away.
Oh yeah,
because somebody just jumping in and being like, hi, I made this game and whatnot.
I wouldn't believe it.
I don't believe it. But somebody in their chat then went on my Twitter profile and saw that I made the game and whatnot. And they were like, yeah,
that's
it's cool. And then the streamer was like, oh, wow. Did you is it just you working on this? I was like, yeah, it's just me working on this thing and whatnot. And he got to like the impossible levels. He was on there and I was like, oh, hey, well done and whatnot. And then he was like, wow, that changes my entire perspective on this game, because I thought that this was like I think he said something like it was like a cash in game or whatever. Where it was like clearly they didn't or like it looked good and whatnot, but it was clearly just like a cash grab or something. Yeah,
some sort of like Game Factory, just like
just like spewing out the stuff. But it was like, that's really impressive that you like did all the art and whatever and stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, man, that's probably how a lot of people are digesting like the majority of games, let alone HyperDot, where it's just like, based off of whatever this is, it could be, or like people can be like, it's just game company X is making this thing. So clearly they have.
What was that one company? What was it? Tokyo RPG Factory, I think. Didn't they do like like they literally called themselves an RPG factory. I'm like, I already have I don't understand how these things that are like 100 hours and have like thousands of lines of dialogue, they come out so often, they come out more often than like God of Wars, and the last was just like how? I don't understand. So they built factories, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you can figure out a workflow for a lot of that stuff, you can maybe figure out a lot of that. But like also there's just like there's different, not necessarily expectations, but like different needs that each type of and style of game need.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, doing your God of Wars and whatnot, you got to do a whole bunch of mocap and whatnot. But like for the the Tokyo RPG kind of things, you'll need a bunch of dialogue and stuff, but not necessarily the most complex in terms of mocap or lip sync and things like that. Localization.
Charles says RPGs are very easy to make. All you need to do
RPGs. Yep. You can
JRPGs especially.
RPGs are a genre of game.
Mm-hmm. What's you put it on the box?
Yeah,
that's on the box.
Yeah.
What's a game that you want to make? What are like?
Oh man, there's a ton of games that I want to make. So
where are all your whiteboards? How are you doing all this? I need whiteboards for my ideas, Charles.
Here's my whiteboard.
Where's your bulletin boards? The pins and the yarn.
Yeah, with the red lines and stuff. No, so some of the games that I really want to make, the one that has been like stuck in my head for the longest time, and I'm like, oh man, I really want to do this, and I think that this is probably my next big like game that I do for Drive Games.
Yeah.
Is a kart racer. I like absolutely love kart racers.
Yes.
You see me jump in playing some Mario Kart with the community and whatnot. But I love kart racers. For years I would just like try and find all the kart racers / all the any arcadey racer kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like play through that and like play that HSX on PlayStation 2. I know I'm just gonna go.
I was hoping you'd say Wacky Wheels and I'd be able to connect with that, but that's where I'm at, dude. Like I don't know. Have you ever played Wacky Wheels on PC?
There you go.
I think,
see, this is play DD Kong Racing.
Sure. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Now people
personally, this is semi hot take. I think that game is more interesting of a concept than it is in execution, because
that's not where I thought you were going.
Yeah, I enjoy DD Kong Racing, don't get me wrong. I just think that the concept of, hey, you can choose whatever vehicle you want and you can race against each other, that sounds really cool. In execution, it normally is just you choose this one vehicle that is actually the best vehicle on this track, on this course,
just
and then you're just racing. So you're just flying around, or you're on a hover, or it's like literally you only can fly, or you can only whatever, or if you're driving, you're at a huge disadvantage and stuff, and that's why I
balance.
think it needs a little bit more balance, but like. It is still an interesting concept.
What about, not necessarily a kart racer, but what about Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts?
Oh my goodness.
Here we go.
Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. I love that game.
Dude.
That is actually what was it?
Good.
Yeah, the
Rare
Xbox
Replay.
what is the Xbox? It was the anniversary event where they did here's a digital history thing, and whatnot. Not even the Rare Replay stuff, but it was like a digital history thing where you can walk and see the history of all Xbox and stuff. And at the end, it would say,
yes.
Yeah, you can link in your account
at the end of the year kind of thing.
It was that kind of thing. And I was and apparently my most played game is Banjo-Kazooie.
Dude, I think I remember seeing that now that you mentioned it. I'm sure he screenshotted that on Twitter. Oh my god.
That is, and that list was so Charles. It was Skate 2 and DJ Hero. And it was oh yes, this is totally me. But Nuts and Bolts, that is such a good game.
I only played it. Rare Replay was when I first played. I didn't play it back in the day, and I was I think I like this, and was met with that's the wrong opinion. You absolutely don't. Yeah. And I didn't play through it. I should be very clear about that kind of stuff. But I thought it was neat, man. I thought it was kind of interesting.
The problem with Nuts and Bolts is that it's labeled Banjo and Kazooie.
Interesting.
That if it wasn't labeled that, then people probably would have looked back at it fonder / it would have been a cult hit kind of thing. Similar to how there's Trail Makers, which is a Banjo and Kazooie game where you're building vehicles and stuff to do tasks and things. But it doesn't have anything tied to any IP tied to it, because everybody really wanted a Banjo game, and instead you get a vehicle Lego building game.
Do you think we get a Banjo game anytime soon? Like, people are screaming for this stuff right now.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We got a Battletoads game. I don't even know if you really like, it seems to just like come and go. It's just too bad.
Yeah. I think that eventually we will get a Banjo game. And then I think that we will collectively be like, yeah, we had a Banjo game. It finally happened.
That's why I bring up the Battletoads thing, because
it'll be like Battletoads.
I don't think people want that. It'll be, what if they do a Banjo-Kazooie game in the style of Last of Us or God of War, where it's just like an escort mission?
Just like we're gonna just say anything is anything will be removed. Totally. Everything's on the chopping wood.
Super mature. Yeah. This old grizzled banjo. Yes. Just graying fur. Yeah, this is, somebody needs to make this.
Yeah, exactly. It would be Bomberman. What is it? The Bomberman, gritty Bomberman game.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, what game do you want to make?
We get on too many tangents. So I want to make a kart racer. So,
right. Yes.
Very inspired by Kirby Air Ride. I love Kirby Air Ride.
Damn it.
Oh my goodness. Don't worry. It all wraps together. Mm-hmm. See, bringing back Kirby Air Ride. But yeah, that is one of the games that I really want to make. I've been like since the I want to say like 2012, 2013 or something. Mm-hmm. I've been like really like, man, I really want to make a kart racer. I just back then I didn't have the like tools / the knowledge in how to make a kart racer really well. But now I feel like I'm fairly confident into being able to make a kart racer and stuff. That's
what I was going to ask. That's exactly what my next question was going to be, because it's like HyperDot is one thing, and maybe it's just like a set of levels that was, I mean, there's a lot going on. I'm not marginalizing it at all. To go from that to like kart racer, like that seems like a jump. But are there other indie developers that you would look to that have done something similar, where they start out with one thing and then they go like, oh snap, like where did this come from? No Man's Sky, like what the heck?
It's No Man's Sky. Oh no, I don't want to do that. That's way too big.
That game is crazy, man. That's my Desert Island game. I keep forgetting about it whenever that question gets brought up, but I got to bring that to my Desert Island when I pack up and get ready for that trip.
Were you for Splatoon? You were like, you know what? I'd bring fun and just bring.
Pretty much, I did choose Team Fun. I did.
I chose gear because you can have fun. You can have fun with gears.
That's cheating.
And then you can get food.
That's cheating.
With the gear.
That's cheating. That's not what I meant. That's not the spirit of the question.
Oh my.
That's cheating, Charles.
Oh my.
But I guess. I mean, that's what a lot of people thought.
Yeah, it's the most practical one. It's like, oh yeah, if you were literally on a desert island, yes, you would probably want to have gear so then you can get all the things. Like, and then you will be able to have your fun and you eat and whatnot. It's the most practical question.
We should stop fighting about which team you would choose and just agree that probably wasn't the best.
It wasn't the best. It was not the best theme. But hey, it is what it is. And I have a feeling that a lot of people picked fun because Big Man. Big Man.
Oh yeah.
So everybody loves Big Man. So, But yes, what we were talking about games.
Other devs have kind of gone from like, like who do you think you are, Charles? You're HyperDot, man. How dare you think you can go from that to kart racer? Stay in your lane.
I think that there are definitely other examples of smaller like indie teams going from one like small game to a fairly large / definitely a jump. It's not like, oh, you're making you would think would be like, oh, the next logical step kind of thing.
Right.
A lot of those are include multiple years difference in things. Yeah. So like the jump from what is it? Thomas Was Alone to like Volume or something.
Right.
Which was like, oh yeah, there's one. No longer just Mike Bithell working on it. Has a bunch of people helping him out.
That helps.
That one.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps.
Who's the dude who did The Witness?
What you call Johnathan Blow?
Yes, because he did that really hard, and then like the time traveling.
Did Braid and then went to The Witness. That took 7 years, but did that and also had a team. So you like, again, not a huge logical leap in terms of, oh yeah, so you're going to make another platformer kind of thing. Yeah. But like it was still a puzzle game and whatnot. So yeah, there are examples of that happened. But also I have worked on other games other than HyperDot, including Totally Reliable delivery service. And worked on a bunch of VR games and stuff, and worked on a bunch of mobile games and things like in the past. So it's not necessarily like, oh yeah, HyperDot is like the first thing and the only thing that I've actually touched.
That'd be very impressive, honestly.
Oh, man, that would be
just like,
yeah, that would be
coming out of the gates, never made anything, and then Jeff Keighley. Last of Us.
Oh my goodness, geez. Yeah. It's one of those instances of like you see the end result, but you didn't see the stuff that came before it.
And overnight success. It took 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that took 10 years. Yeah. So I do definitely feel a lot more confident doing that kind of stuff. That's awesome. I've done a wide variety of genre / style of game. Like that one is one that I'm like, yeah, I really want to do. It's not like my bucket list game, like the game that has been in the back of my mind for multiple years. Yeah. And whatnot. Well, I guess it has been in the back of my mind.
Sounds like it.
Years.
Yeah.
But it isn't like if I had an unlimited budget, I'd pull out this back pocket idea and be like, well, I have the idea for you kind of thing. It's not one of those. Yeah. But it's another stepping stone towards me learning and understanding the mechanics and things that I would want to do to be able to do that. I'm really bad at self-promotion, but I'm going to try it here. I talked about this in in a GDC talk that I did.
Yes.
Where I basically was like, hey, I know that you really want to make your really big game, but what if you made a bunch of smaller games that had mechanics of the big games so that you can learn from those games and stuff like that.
That seems to make sense to me. Like that's how I would, I have even can't even speak to this kind of stuff at all. But that seems to be the way that I would approach it. Okay. So you released HyperDot into Game Pass. Well, not directly into Game Pass.
No,
you were
directly,
out and then it came out into Game Pass. What happened when it came to Game Pass?
Oh, the world said, hey, what's this game?
Oh,
why am I getting a mission to do this in the Game Pass thing or whatever? Yeah. And then that was definitely the time when a lot of people actually figured out and found out about HyperDot and stuff. And man, that was a whirlwind of stuff of just like, oh, okay, I am I guess people have thoughts and opinions on HyperDot now and things like that. It definitely wasn't like a huge thing beforehand, but like that just like opened the gates to a bunch of people. And I'm so glad that a lot more people were even able to just play the game let alone just, have it in front of all of those eyes, just being like seeing the streams and seeing the things from all that again. Really like I still can't believe
that's
all
so
that
awesome.
stuff.
It's so well deserved. And I think the last time you were on the show, it was not on Game Pass. I think you maybe were just releasing it or it was just about to come out. And I was asking you about Game Pass and
I was like, man,
I think you had something maybe in the
and then
yeah, because that was what year did it release?
2020. Yeah, so it happened a month before the pandemic truly started.
That's why it feels longer than that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, you just told me that it was like sitting next to The Last of Us Part 2, so like that should kind of clue me in a little bit. But yeah, my sense of time around that time.
Yeah, time's a flat circle. It's okay.
Yeah, especially like HyperDot.
Yeah, yeah, time's just HyperDot.
Time is HyperDot. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so. But Game Pass, I heard from people on the internet that Game Pass is going to destroy video games. And how do you feel about contributing to the demise of the industry that you love so dear?
Oh, I'm so glad that I'm able to be the last, the bell ringer of the death,
the harbinger,
the harbinger of death and things. I apparently also, I got really lucky. My first and only E3 was E3 2019.
No kidding.
Yeah. So,
same.
Yeah, there you go. So it was like, All right. Well, I guess I am the harbinger of death. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I have a lot of mixed feelings, mostly positive feelings, largely positive feelings towards like Game Pass and stuff. One, duh, because my game was on Game Pass, so
yeah, did pretty
a little
good.
biased of a source here.
Sure.
But I also think that it is like if I was a kid and like my parents were like, oh man, my kids really want to keep playing games and whatnot. They keep asking about games and stuff. Them doing Game Pass would have made so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
And like the amount of games that I would have been able to play.
Yeah.
Would have been like, yeah, mind blowing. Like I would have been able to try out so many different types of games, especially in an age where going to a rental store isn't that's not a thing you can do.
Dude, how bad do you miss that? Just go like, is that like, because it seems, if you really think about it, it's super inconvenient, but it's romanticized like to the nth degree. I would love 100%. To just like go, yeah, that store's 10 minutes at the closest away. Like we're talking about a 20-minute shortest round trip possible.
Yep. Doesn't have the game that you were really
doesn't
looking
even
for.
have the game.
but you're like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to look at all these other games and stuff.
Totally.
Oh, what's this? What is this random let's Clay Fighter thing? I'll try that out.
Pick it up. Yes, buy that immediately, Clay Fighter.
Yeah, you just pick it. Like that's how a lot of those things were. Or like speaking of HSX, it's a racing game on PlayStation. It was like a futuristic racer. So think Wipeout style kind of game.
Yeah.
But like that's where I learned of that. And like that became one of my most played games because it has a track editor in it. And I'm like, oh, this track editor
crazy.
It is so detailed and whatnot.
Look at that.
Yeah, but like,
formative moment for you.
Oh, it was
like map editors and stuff. Like
editors, level editors and things are things that I really cherish a lot.
Yeah.
And that's partially the reason why I wanted to like really put in one in HyperDot and make it so that every game or every level that I made in HyperDot you can make because I use the same editor.
Mm-hmm.
But like, like that Mon Nation Racers is another one where I'm like, oh, the editor in that is so good.
Yeah.
/ I just love that game so much.
But also the level editor for like HyperDot, and it's amazing. I go like, I mean, how hard could this be? You just throw a circle in there, and then you're like, shit, this is really hard to do. Yeah, like I can't match. I mean, the dude who made the game, obviously.
That's one thing that I really, because of the way that I approached the level editor, I think that it was it was a detriment to the accessibility of using that level editor, where it's like, yeah, you have access to literally everything. You can change the parameters. You can have things.
Don't let my experience with it like color
I know.
like any
this
of
is
that.
Not,
like, I'm
I know
an
this
idiot
is not. I understand. This is something where there were multiple times where I was on a stream with people. Like I was literally on the stream and they were like, yeah, we're going to go through all this stuff and we're showcasing HyperDot and stuff. And, you know, we're talking about stuff. And then we're like, so we're going to jump into the level editor. And immediately when they say that, I'm like, oh no, they're not going to understand anything about this because it's very much it's a level editor that you play when you have beat or like you've played a significant amount of HyperDot. So then you have an understanding of everything. And all the parts. And then you're like, I'm going to really get into this kind of thing. And I wish that I had a mode where it was like a simplified thing where you can just be like, I want to put in a pattern. Like you just like, I want a pattern kind of thing. Or I want to have this, like, you know, like the modifier part is something that you can understand is like really easy to change. But like anything involving like the enemies and like how the pattern works, I wish that I had a simplified version where it was almost Mario Maker.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you about.
Yeah,
like how you look to something like that and go, how much does it influence?
Exact. And like, that's a great, that's like Mario Maker is such an outlier in terms of a level editor game because other level editor games, I don't understand. I don't know why suddenly I coined this term. But like Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet?
The one, another game, really, really love. The ratio from creators on that to players on Little Big Planet I'm guessing it's probably like creators are like 20% or less.
Yeah.
Probably even less. I'm being really generous there.
Yeah.
It's probably like 10.
Like creators, and even if you counted like more than one level, like
Yeah,
not
more
just
than
like
one level. Just like people who are like, I'm gonna actually try and like
that's gonna be
make
my
a
Little
couple
Big
of
Planet
levels and stuff.
experience is making levels,
Making levels and stuff. And like that ratio, I think, is what is standard across a lot of these level editor things.
Yeah.
So anything that has a bonus level editor thing, what is it? Cluster Truck. I don't know why I'm bringing up Cluster Truck. But
dude, I need to play that game. It looks like my kind of game. I'm telling you.
man,
it looks so fun.
It is a lot of fun. It does have a level editor. It's more of a kind of a, hey, it's a bonus tacked on kind of thing.
Sure.
Tacked on, all the air quotes.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But like you're gonna get like 2% of people playing on that. And I think that is similar to what happened with like HyperDot, where you're like 5% of people are actually doing like level editor things.
Mm-hmm.
But like but the ratio with Mario Maker, that it has to be higher. And I know it's higher because you see, especially when Mario Maker 2 came out and people were sharing their levels and stuff, you saw people who were like, you know what, I'm going to make some levels. And like they felt empowered to make levels. And that is the thing that I really want. Wanted to be able to do, but I didn't realize that I really wanted to be able to do that until too late, where it was like, oh man, I am 3.5 years in and I'm about to release
Time
this
to
game.
wrap this thing up, man.
Yeah, I've been worried about all these like making the
eye
tool
tracking,
verbose and stuff. But like, that's one thing. I'm like, I wish that I went back and was like, okay, make this simplified, and so that it's something that you actually are like, I feel empowered to be able to make something that I want to make. And of course, you're going to see a lot of the same kind of patterns because things are simplified and whatnot. But that is the gateway to get into doing the more advanced stuff. So like if you were to look at like the Trials motorcycle games and whatnot, they have their simplified. Oh man, I'm a jump from everywhere.
Those games, dude, that was probably one of the first like XBLA games that I played. Like a friend of mine was just like showing me random stuff all the time, and it was like,
oh, nice.
This game blows my mind. Like this is so. It just felt so good. But I wish I was creative and dedicated enough to like make something like that, like level editors. Like I have so much appreciation for it. We would like do map editors on like StarCraft and Warcraft 2 back in the day, and like, you can do like these mission or objective based kind of things. You get your guys onto these tiles and it would trigger like a gate that would fall over, and then that would happen in the game too. Like I love what, like when you say that, like the you could make every level using the level editor. Like there's a history to that kind of thought and that notion, because like that's probably the link to the empowerment, really, is you don't feel like you're not able to do that. You don't want to go like, there's something hidden from me here.
There's not to I will not disparage the name of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Oh dang.
But in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, I love Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. It has an awesome level editor, but all the levels in their level editor are like, the second you take a screenshot of it and you're like, it's a level editor level.
Right.
Like, it's not School 2 or it's, I mean, like clearly it isn't these things because, they have custom made assets and stuff, and it makes sense that it honestly, it does make a lot of sense. So I'm not like saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that there's like that kind and style of level editor versus something like a HyperDot or I wouldn't even say Little Big Planet, because Little Big Planet also has bespoke things inside of it, inside of their traditional campaign. Because like they were the ones who came up with the idea so they can make everything really seamless and whatnot. Like they were like, we need a mask here, so let's make a mask and then put it in there and then offer it in the level editor.
Gotcha.
Like, so they were able to do that. But like with HyperDot, I had 5 enemies that I could mess around with and stuff. Or like, I need more parameters in order for these things to work. But it's still like, you're still having the entire, have the entire like tool set that I have.
See, I would just make levels that where, what do you call the dark ones with the where they glow? Like that's just like, When I saw that you showed me that at E3 in 2019, I'm like, that is the crazy. I was not expecting. I thought it was just everything was flat and whatever. It's like you flip the switch you flip the light switch.
And then
I'm like,
suddenly, like,
oh my gosh, man, it was
oh man,
really special.
Thanks.
I want to ask as we start to maybe close things out here. I want to ask, like, you've been working on the ports.
Yes.
I don't know if you can talk, like, what is life like now? Like, we live, our day-to-day are totally different. Like, I do my 9 to 5 or whatever. Like, what is it like when you release a game like this? And I imagine it, puts food on the table for at least a couple of days. But, like, it's not like you have, like, a salary. Like, I don't think.
Yeah.
So what, like, I don't know if that's a fair question to ask, but, like, I just want to know, like, what's life like when that's the way that you make your living?
Sure. Yeah. So it's interesting. I hinted at it before. So that Totally Reliable Delivery Service game that I worked on, that is how I make my normal day job, my work salary kind of thing, where I'm a contractor on that. So I work on that, and we're working on the ... sequel question mark ... with. We technically announced it, but it was like the most soft launch announcement, and then we immediately revoked it because I don't know.
We'll do it again later.
Yeah, we'll do it again later, kind of thing. ... question mark. So, but like, yeah, so like that is like my like now day job kind of thing. But also I am working on HyperDot, which is basically, or HyperDot and Tribe Games things, which is also basically like another full-time job.
Yeah.
So that has been fun. But like, yeah, it's a lot of going back and forth between those two things. And with Totally Reliable, I'm working with like an awesome team and stuff, and it's a lot of fun learning a bunch from everybody and things. But then on the flip side, I go and work on Tribe Games stuff, and I'm working on that, and I'm working on like the ports and stuff like that. So.
I love it, man. That totally makes sense, because I think a bunch of us have read the Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and we read these stories of these guys and these people who are putting a second or third or fourth mortgage on their house, like just trying to make ends meet and hoping that the game that they're building like lands in a way. So I'm glad to hear, like, it seems like you're a little more balanced than that. Like, a little bit more. Yeah.
I'm super fortunate where I'm like able to be in this position where I'm able to work on games exclusively, even for a day job. I work on games, and I work on a game that has a bunch of like fart jokes and stuff, so it doesn't even feel like work. But I mean, it definitely is work. But
no doubt,
I understand that, like, I'm in a very fortunate position, and I know that a lot of people aren't like that. And HyperDot did pretty okay, so it's not like. That is another thing where I'm like, I understand that is that's another thing that I can be like, okay, I'm not stressing too much over like, okay, I need to make the next hit or whatever.
Yeah, this loaf of bread's got to last past the expiry date.
I don't want to be in that position.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Unfortunately, I'm not in that position, but. Yeah.
Well, I cannot wait for these games to launch, or this game to launch on these other platforms. I just can't recommend it enough. I've had a blast with it multiple times. Even if I can't beat what do you call the extra hard,
impossible
levels. I mean, at least from my old hands.
It's all
although
good.
I need to do more with the mouse and keyboard, because I was playing on my new monitor here, and that is it looks very, very nice. So dude, I love that it's such a wonderful game, and it's been made by such a wonderful person. And I've been really fortunate to be able to get to know you over the last couple of years. And sorry about Friday. I'm glad we got to record tonight. Feel quite a bit better. So I think
that's awesome to hear.
I appreciate your patience with me on that, dude. But do you want to let anybody know, like, we've kind of talked about your games and everything and the things that you're up to. Do you want to direct people on the internet where to find you, or message you where they can find out more?
Yeah. So you can follow me at DarkCaseTG on Twitter, or at Tribe Games if you just want to hear about Tribe Game stuff. I am in the process of doing something that is not related to Tribe Games directly, but will also be related to Tribe Games directly. But also, it's related to the fact that everything looks all nice.
YouTube.com/Metroid shirt that you're wearing, which is
Metroid shirt.
Yes,
Okay, well, it's not the Metroid shirt.
That's
but
a very cool shirt.
That's something that I've been thinking about doing, and I am right now. Honestly, I'm like extremely nervous because it's something that I haven't done.
Oh, it's awesome! I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Okay, you let me know. You let me know when that launches, man. That's whatever this is. I think I've got an idea. Whatever you do turns to gold, and it's great. And you have a heart of gold. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight, my friend.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of geeking out that conversation just happened. When I started doing podcasting and content creation and getting into games and stuff, I had no idea where it was going to take me. I could honestly comment on this sort of thing every single week, but to sit here and have a conversation with somebody who has made just such a phenomenal video game, who happens to be just a wonderful person, who's been nominated at the Video Game Awards, this is mind-blowing to me. And I'm so thankful that you guys are here with me on this journey. We're not stopping. Things are busy, things are crazy, but that's okay. I love doing this show, and I'm so glad that you guys are here. Once again, you can follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. We're Carpool Gaming on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, probably Snapchat and MySpace. You know, we probably should lock that down. Now that I'm saying it as a joke, somebody else is gonna snatch it up, and who knows, man? Who knows the damage that they can do? As we close things out, though, I want to draw your attention to a little show called the Nintendo Drive. It's a Nintendo show that I do. Some of you guys, sometimes I just assume you guys know all the things. You got to hit the subscribe button at youtube.com/carpoolgaming because we have a show coming out every single day. I do a show called the Nintendo Drive, also the Xbox Drive. But why I want to bring up the Nintendo Drive right now is because we are welcoming Seth and Lachlan on to the show. It's a brand new show, brand new format. For those of you who have been listening for a long time, it's you have no idea what you're in store for. It's really special. We've been thinking a lot about it. We are going to be purposefully different from the previous iteration of the Nintendo Drive, and hopefully different from anything else that you've ever heard before. How's that for a lofty promise? YouTube.com/carpoolgaming, Patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Choose the tier that's right for you. We cannot do this without you guys, and I appreciate you. Extra Life coming up, and Charles McGregor was on the show. I'm gonna tell my parents. This is one I think I can do it. Mom and Dad, you can watch this one. You could have listened to the last week. Jason Lacey, pretty decent over there as well. But I think it's time for me to go have a shower, wash up, get ready for bed. I hope you guys have a great night. Usually we end a show with Bobby Pauls, but this is already late, so we're gonna do a classic clip from a game that I'm mildly fond of. So please enjoy. I'll see you guys next week. Hey, bye everybody. Bye. Bye.
Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Sean, where are you? Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Jason! 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 Jason!